Hi everyone, and welcome back to Glow with K-Beauty. I'm Jody, your skincare-obsessed host and fellow explorer on this journey to glowing, healthy skin. Each week, we dive into the latest trends, timeless rituals, and must-know secrets behind Korean beauty, and today is no exception. Now, I won't keep you waiting. Joining me today are our two brilliant K-Beauty freelance journalists. They're on the ground in Seoul, bringing us expert insights, product reviews, and the kind of skincare know-how that only comes from living it every day. Let's get into it. This episode, we're diving into a topic that affects nearly everyone as they grow older: pigmentation issues of the skin. We're talking about something we all notice sooner or later: changes in our skin as we age. You might have seen brown spots on your hands, dark patches on your cheeks, or tiny, flat bumps that weren't there before. These are all types of pigmentation problems, and while they're common, understanding them can help you manage and even prevent them. So let's explore the causes, characteristics, and treatment options for these skin changes. What causes pigmentation with age? As we grow older, our skin goes through natural changes, slower regeneration, sun damage over the years, and shifts in hormones. These changes often result in an overproduction of melanin, the pigment responsible for skin color. When melanin is produced unevenly, we get dark spots or patches, known as hyperpigmentation. One of the biggest triggers? Sun exposure. Years of UV rays build up, and the damage becomes visible over time. Common types of pigmentation. Let's go over the four most common types. Freckles. These small, brown spots are often genetic and get darker with sun exposure. They're more common in fair-skinned individuals. Liver spots, H-spots, also called solar lentigines. These are flat, dark patches found on sun-exposed areas like the face and hands. They tend to appear after age 40. Melasma, often caused by hormonal changes, melasma appears as symmetrical brown patches, especially in women during pregnancy or when using hormonal medications. Flat warts, these are caused by the human papillomavirus, HPV. They're slightly raised, smooth, and often cluster on the face or hands. Unlike freckles or spots, flat warts are contagious. Can these be treated? The good news? Yes. Topical creams with ingredients like vitamin C, retinoids, or hydroquinone can lighten dark spots over time. Chemical peels help by removing the outer layers of discolored skin. Laser treatments like IPL can target stubborn pigmentation. Flat warts, being viral, may need cryotherapy or medical removal. And of course, sunscreen is a must. Daily use of SPF 30 or higher can prevent further pigmentation and help current treatments work better. Pigmentation is a natural part of aging, but that doesn't mean you have to live with it in silence. With the right care, prevention, and professional guidance, your skin can stay healthy and radiant at any age. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, the best time to care for your skin is now. Next up, we'll have a conversation with two makeup journalists, Leslie and Eric, about their first-hand experience in new makeup techniques, South Korea. If you listen until the end, you'll get some great information you might not have expected. Subscriptions, likes, and notification settings are small acts of kindness that give strength and courage to the hosts of the podcast. Please do so.
Welcome to the deep dive. We all have this idea, right? This desire for perfect skin, that sort of chosen white porcelain look.
It's a common goal.
Yeah, it really is. But, well, life happens, time passes, and you start seeing these little marks appear. And they can feel a bit like, blemishes on that perfect canvas.
Oh, absolutely. It's something so many people experience. Those little brown spots, maybe new moles, age marks, they pop up.
And it changes how you feel looking in the mirror.
It really can, yeah.
Okay, so today, that's our mission. We're doing a deep dive into these super common skin changes. We want to really unpack them.
Get some clarity.
Exactly. What are they? Why do they show up? How are they different? And crucially, what actually works to manage them or maybe even remove them. We're pulling this from discussions with experts, so it's solid info.
That's the plan. And it's important because, when you see brown spots on your face, they generally fall into two main buckets. Yeah, understanding which bucket your spot belongs in is, well, it's fundamental. It really dictates everything that comes next, treatment-wise.
Right. So what are these two big categories we need to get our heads around?
Well, fundamentally, you've got hereditary conditions, things you're sort of genetically wired for. Think melasma, uh, kimi, as it's known in Korea, and freckles, jugium-kai.
Okay, the genetic stuff and the other bucket.
That's acquired conditions. These are caused by, outside factors or just the aging process itself. Things like black spots, hupja, age spots, jeonbyeosek, and just your typical mole's jeom.
I see. So if like your mom or dad or maybe an aunt or uncle had melasma, that kind of puts you in that hereditary group automatically.
Pretty much, yeah. You've got that predisposition. And knowing which category you're in, that's genuinely the first crucial step.
Makes sense. It tells you what kind of fight you're in, so to speak.
Exactly. It defines the whole strategy. And speaking of melasma, let's really dig into that one because honestly, it's the #1 skin worry for women, especially here in Korea.
Number one. Wow, that's huge. Okay, so we know it's largely hereditary, but what else plays a role? You hear about hormones, right? Do they, trigger it?
Oh, hormones play a massive, massive role. It's really interesting. Often the very first time melasma appears is during pregnancy.
Really?
Yeah, those high hormone levels that you need for the pregnancy, they can absolutely kickstart it. That's why lots of women only notice it, after they've had a baby.
Huh. So it's not just pregnancy hormones.
Nope. And this is critical info. Oral contraceptives, birth control pills, they can do it too because of the hormones in them. They can either trigger melasma or make existing melasma much worse.
Raya.
And actually, melasma that's brought on by birth control pills, it tends to be particularly stubborn, really resistant to treatment compared to the kind that pops up during pregnancy.
Okay, that is really important for people to know. So what about sunlight? Everyone says stay out of the sun. Does sun cause melasma?
Good question. Sunlight definitely makes existing melasma darker, makes it worse, exacerbates it, but it doesn't cause it on its own.
Oh.
If you get a spot just from sun exposure, that's usually an acquired spot, like an age spot maybe, not melasma.
Got it. And what does melasma actually look like? Is it like little dots?
No, not usually the dots. It's typically quite symmetrical, on both sides of the face. We often describe it looking like a sort of large brushstroke or maybe a wide band. It's more like a connected patch.
A patch, okay. So given it's hereditary and hormones are a big trigger, how do you actually manage it? Can you, cure it?
Right. Well, the first step is kind of accepting its nature, that hereditary link. Then sun protection becomes, absolutely vital.
Like really serious about it?
Oh, yeah. Rigorous, almost you could say compulsive sunscreen use every 2 hours. Using those SPF compacts, SPF 20 or 30 for reapplying during the day, that's a great strategy.
Like the golfers with the full face shields?
Exactly like that. Beyond sunblock, avoiding those hormonal triggers is key. So maybe reconsidering birth control pills if melasma is a real concern for you.
Okay. Any creams or anything?
Yeah. For topical treatment, something like melanin cream is pretty common and quite effective for lightening things up, especially for Korean women.
So the bottom line is it's genetic, hormones mess with it, and you can lighten it, but you can't really erase it permanently. It's about constant management.
That's the core truth, yeah. Lifelong strategy involving sun protection and watching those hormones. It requires diligence.
Will it ever go away?
Well, there's a bit of potential good news there. It often does improve quite a bit, or sometimes even fades away completely after menopause when hormone levels naturally drop.
Okay. Something to look forward to, maybe. All right, so that's melasma covered.
Yeah.
But what about moles? Guillaume, they're another thing people worry about, especially as they get older. There's that rumor, right? Lots of moles means higher cancer risk.
Yeah, that rumor is persistent. But honestly, for almost everyone, it's a myth. Yeah, it's only true for an incredibly rare genetic thing called dysplastic nevus syndrome. We're talking maybe 1 or 2 people in, like 10 million. So no, just having a lot of moles doesn't automatically mean higher risk for the average person.
Phew. Okay. That's reassuring. So is it normal then to just get more moles as you age? Is that expected?
Totally normal. It's often said you get about your age multiplied by 1 in terms of moles. It's just a standard aging change.
Okay.
But that does bring up the important point. When should you worry about a mole? There are definitely warning signs. We look for 3 key things.
Okay. What are the red flags? What should you be watching for on your own skin?
Right. First, sudden size change. And I mean rapid increase over a few months, not slowly over years. Taking pictures, on your phone can actually be super helpful to track this.
Good tip. What else?
Second, irregular borders. If a mole used to be nice and round, smooth edges, and suddenly it looks kind of jagged or like an amoeba or a map, unclear borders, that's a change to note.
Jagged edges. Got it. And the third?
Color variation. If a mole was always just one shade of brown, and suddenly it has multiple colors in it, patches of black, different browns, maybe red, even blue, all in that one spot. That's the third sign.
Wow. Okay. So rapid growth, weird borders, or a mix of colors. See any of those, see a doctor.
Exactly. Time for a professional check.
Are there any moles that experts say you should just get removed anyway, even if they look normal, just because of where they are?
Yes, absolutely. Moles in areas of constant friction have a slightly higher lifetime risk of changing. So we often recommend preemptive removal for moles on the palms of your hands,
Palms, okay.
soles of your feet, under the bra line for women, and along the belt line for men. Constant rubbing isn't ideal for moles.
That is super practical advice. Okay, so let's say you decide to remove a mole. Laser or surgery? What's the difference and how do you choose?
The big question. It all comes down to the root depth. How deep does that mole go? Some moles are quite superficial, just in the top layers of skin, the epidermis, maybe the upper dermis. Lasers work great for those. Easy, permanent removal usually.
Simple enough, but what if it's deeper?
Right. If it's a deep mole, sometimes called a dermal nevus or Jinpi mobon, its roots go way down into the deep dermis, sometimes even the fat layer underneath.
And lasers?
Lasers just can't get that deep effectively. They'll only zap the top part, so the mole almost always grows back and you can end up with redness or even scarring from repeated attempts.
So for those deep ones, laser is basically pointless or worse.
Pretty much. For deep moles, surgical excision is really the only way. A surgeon, usually a plastic surgeon or a dermatologic surgeon, actually cuts the mole out completely, root and all, and then stitches the skin carefully.
And that's permanent.
Yes. That achieves permanent removal and generally gives the best cosmetic outcome, minimizing the scar.
Is there a way to guess if a mole might be deep? Like by looking at it?
Size is a pretty good clue. If a mole is about 5 millimeters across, that's half a centimeter or bigger, there's a high chance it's a deep one.
Half a centimeter. Okay.
Yeah, if it's that big, you should probably be thinking about surgery right from the start. It's all about the root.
The root dictates the treatment. Makes total sense. Okay, we've covered melasma, we've covered moles, but what about those other brownish spots? Sometimes they're flat, sometimes they're kind of raised or bumpy. They can look similar, right? Like flat warts, pion samak, and age spots.
Jianbiaso.
Exactly. They can look very similar sometimes. Both can be brown and maybe a bit raised.
So how on earth do you tell them apart?
Okay, here's a really neat trick, and it involves your sense of touch, not just sight.
Ooh, okay.
Use your fingertips. Gently feel the spot. If a brown spot feels completely smooth, perfectly flat with the skin, it's probably just a simple black spot. A hukcha.
Smooth means likely hukcha.
No.
But if it feels even slightly raised or bumpy when you touch it, then it's likely either an age spot or a flat wart. Your fingers are actually more reliable than your eyes for this initial check.
Wow. Use your fingers.
Yeah.
That's a great takeaway. Okay, so you feel it, it's bumpy.
Yeah.
Now what? How do doctors tell if it's an age spot versus a wart?
Well, the number one clue dermatologists use, especially when they look so alike, is the patient's age.
Age. How so?
If you're younger, say in your 20s, maybe 30s, and you have a raised brownish spot, it's much more likely to be a flat wart because that's actually a viral infection.
Warts are viral. Right.
But if you're older, say 50s, 60s, or more, and you get a similar looking raised spot, it's far more likely to be an age spot, which is just a consequence of, well, aging skin.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about people in the middle, like 30s, 40s, where age isn't such a clear clue?
Yeah, so the ambiguous zone. In those cases, we might do what's called a diagnostic treatment. Meaning we might try removing it with a laser. If the laser removes it cleanly and it stays gone, it was probably an age spot.
And if it comes back?
But if it comes back, especially in the exact same spot after laser removal, then it's highly, highly likely it was a flat wart. The recurrence points strongly to a virus being involved.
Fascinating. Like a treatment that also diagnoses. And I guess the actual treatment approach is totally different then.
Oh, completely different. Age spots, they respond beautifully to lasers. Because they're just an aging thing, lasers can remove them very effectively, often with fantastic long-lasting results.
Great. But warts?
Warts are tricky because they're viral. Just lasering them usually isn't enough. They'll almost certainly come back, and sometimes lasering can even make them spread. They really need an immune treatment approach, something to target and kill the actual virus.
Wow, okay. So knowing the type is absolutely everything. All right, we've identified the different spots. Now, getting the best results. What affects how well treatments work? Does skin type matter?
Skin type matters a lot, actually. Generally speaking, fairer skin tends to have somewhat easier outcomes, less risk of something called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, PIH.
PIH. That's the darkening after treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That temporary brown or dark mark after the skin's been inflamed or treated. Darker skin types are more prone to getting more noticeable or longer-lasting PIH.
So recovery might take longer.
Yes, recovery can take longer, and you need to be even more diligent with sun protection after treatment, maybe use lightening creams for longer. For people with darker skin, sometimes we even suggest doing a small test spot first.
A test spot.
Yeah, just treat one small spot and see how it heals, how much PIH develops before doing a larger area. It helps manage expectations and tailor the aftercare.
That seems really smart. Very personalized. Now, are there any treatments or types of spots where you see truly dramatic, like life-changing results?
Well, for melasma and freckles, they tend to come back because they're genetic, but laser treatments like Revlite can definitely lighten them significantly. Good for, say, an important event like a job interview or meeting the in-laws. The effect might last a few months.
Okay, temporary but noticeable improvement.
Exactly. But where laser treatment often gives the most dramatic, really wow results. That's usually with those raised dark age spots, the Guillain-Barré.
Really? Even though they can sometimes look, well, quite prominent.
Yes. They might be the ones people dislike the most visually, the ugliest ones, perhaps. But they also respond incredibly well to laser removal. It can honestly be like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of treatment.
Once in a lifetime. How long does it last?
The results can easily last 10, maybe 15 years. It's a huge improvement.
Wow, that sounds transformative. What's the value in that beyond just looks?
Oh, it's immense. Think about it. Removing those prominent age spots, it can be an unbelievably meaningful gift, say, for a parent's or in-law's 60th or 70th birthday.
A gift. Interesting.
Yeah, the cost might be similar to, I don't know, a nice trip abroad, maybe 1 to 3 million Korean won, depending. But the payoff, you get lifetime good words, as they say, pure happiness. Every single time they look in the mirror, they feel that boost of confidence. It's like giving them back a bit of their younger self-perception.
That's actually a really lovely way to think about it. A gift of daily confidence.
It truly is.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. To wrap things up, if you had to pick the single most important thing, the one daily habit anyone can do for just overall skin health, and to slow down the appearance or worsening of these spots, what is it?
Oh, that's easy. Consistent, meticulous sunscreen application. Every single day.
Rain or shine?
Absolutely. Starting diligently around age 30, maybe even earlier. It can genuinely make a decade, maybe even 2 decades, of difference in how your skin looks compared to your friends as you get older. It is, without doubt, the most fundamental, effective step you can take.
Wow. A decade or 2 just from sunscreen. Okay, so that leaves us with a thought. If a simple, consistent daily habit like putting on sunscreen can essentially buy you back that much time in terms of how your skin appears, what other small, consistent actions might you be taking or could you be taking in your life that could have similarly dramatic long-term returns that maybe you haven't even considered yet?